So hello.
Okay, good day everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Blaze Connected Construction Series. And today we'll be talking about how to bridge the facility management gap using PropTech. So today I have in the house Ife Makinde, who is an architect by profession. So Ife Makinde has his bachelor's degree in architecture from Covenant University in Nigeria and also master's degree in architecture from University of Lagos. And The average PropTech enthusiast with strong interest in various IoT and blockchain technologies to improve the built environment and also enhance quality of life. So Tumakinde has experience working as a product manager in PropTech and real estate investment with one of Nigeria's leading PropTech startups. He's also passionate about building startups in Africa, and currently he functions as a product management and business development expert in a startup that's working on a lot of building SME solutions. So currently, he focuses on building collaborations between real estate and PropTech startups through the Nigerian PropTech Association. And also, he's also a freelancer as an architectural consultant, project manager, and products PropTech consultant. So it's great to have you to us today. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you, Onyema, for having me on the show.
Yeah. So today we'll basically be talking about how we can leverage PropTech to leverage PropTech to enhance our facilities. How we can use PropTech to bridge facility management gap in our various facilities. So of course, but today when you look at the beauty industry, you see that we are beginning to have a whole lot of technology infiltration. We are beginning to hear of construction technology related terms, prop tech, and so many of these terms. So for someone that is very new to these whole terms, things like prop tech, how you explain prop tech to a layperson that's perhaps hearing it for the first time?
Yeah, so prop tech is just the interface between property and technology, right? So prop tech is whatever processes or new methods that are being implemented in the property space or in the construction space or in building management, facility management, whatever new technologies and processes that have been implemented to make it easier to do things, to make it faster to do things, to make it more efficient to do things in construction, in property management, in design, real estate, anything that has to do with the property space. So that is what prop tech is, just combining technology to, methods we are used to in the property space.
Okay. So that basically means that it encompasses the entire life cycle of built assets in the industry.
Yes, so PropTech spans the entire life cycle of a building from the point you start thinking of it, you start designing, to the point you start constructing, to the to renting, to purchasing, to life cycle, to the occupancy stage, every stage of the building, to the end stage of the building, PropTech needs to be involved.
Okay, that's quite great to hear. So, looking at the facility management stage, which is the focus of this talk today, you realize that
Yes.
the operational expenditure on facilities is always higher than the capital expenditure. I mean, the amount of money people spend on maintaining their facilities is always way higher than the amount of money they spend even building those facilities. So, in what ways do you think that
Yes.
PropTech can help to reduce this operational cost of facility management and maintenance?
Yes, so it's normal, right? We've seen it as a norm for operational costs to be way higher than capital expenditure in buildings, and this is usually because we are used to being reactive in facility management. We only fix problems, we only fix things when it's broken. We are not. We need to be more predictive, and PropTech can help to do that. Bringing in predictive analytics, we can be able to predict when the fault is meant to happen. We can be able to predict when something needs to be replenished in a building, in terms of the services being provided for, and solve problems before they occur. There's an adage that goes, like this, a stitch in time saves nine. So when you solve problems before they become bigger, before they extrapolate into bigger things, you save a lot of cost. There's a lot of cost savings involved. So we need to be more predictive and not just reactive in facility management. And that can definitely help save cost, help make our buildings more energy efficient, and increase the management of facilities that we have through PropTech.
Okay, that's pretty. So basically, that means most of the facility management solutions we have today, or the approach towards maintaining facilities, is always kind of reactive. So I believe
Yes.
that in a lot of ways, having more data to also, having more data on these facilities will also help to, because it will be hard to be for you to be able to predict what will happen in a facility if you don't have enough data on that facility. Right? I'm
Yes,
asking.
true. The property and construction sector here has been one of the most backward for the last 20, 30 years, because we've been using the same operational methods we've been used to. And those methods have worked for us. They haven't been bad, they've worked for us. But we need to now implement data to get better, to do things in a better way. There have been growth in material standards and design software. We now have, like, I'm a designer myself, so we now have so many various design software we use. There's VR to help engage with your design. There are so many things, but in the facility management space, in the actual management of these buildings, of these assets, there hasn't been so much innovation because we lack data about buildings. We lack data about how users interact with buildings. We lack data on how these building materials and building components function, and maybe degrade over time, how they function to different conditions. So if we have much more data, we can now use predictive analytics to be able to determine facility management in a better way, to be able to operate a facility in a better way.
Okay, yes, that's quite true because I believe that that also means that, like you mentioned earlier, the whole idea of prop tech also needs to start early enough in the life cycle of a built asset. Okay, so another thing I also want to ask,
Yes.
we're talking about facility management now. So oftentimes in the build sector, you notice that we are usually facility centric when designing and delivering buildings. As professionals, a lot of times we focus more on the facility. So, in what ways do you think that PropTech can enhance user experience in our facilities and actually make these facilities more user centric? To enhance user experience within our facilities. How do you think PropTech can also help to do that?
Yes. So this is a very important question because we are so much used to building projects. When in the construction space, we have the project managers. We're used to saying, "Oh, we're working on a project now. We have a new project to do," but we need to see buildings and construction more like, and renovations more like products. We need to productize, if I can use that word. We need to productize buildings. We need to productize the built environment, just like in the technology space, the way you build products in the technology space. In the technology space, which I have experience in as a product manager, we build tech products with the purpose of improving them. We use agile methodologies in building tech products with the purpose of making incremental improvements on the products every at different stages, at different sprints. So we need to see buildings more in this light, and that would help us to be much more focused on the user and not just on how magnificent the building is, or how we need to make the building big, or more energy efficient, even though that is important. But the users the users are actually the priority. We need to, for instance, when you look at a lot of imported technology into the country, into Nigeria, for the last couple of months, a lot of money, a lot of foreign exchange has been spent on importing access control systems. And this is due to the fact that, due to the fact that we're in the pandemic season, and people need, mostly commercial buildings, office buildings, need to um, monitor the temperature of people coming in, need to, do contact tracing in case of any, COVID outbreak or any issues like that. So access control is now we're now retrofitting buildings with these access control systems, and now focusing more on the user. But trust me, it would have been much more cheaper for these companies to, when if they had thought of the users earlier on and fitted, these systems in the design phase of the building, in the construction phase. When we focus, so by focusing on the users, we can save this cost, and also enhance the living conditions of these users, and also even conserve energy in the building, conserve energy use. For instance, by focusing on the user, by monitoring how users interact with spaces, we can be able to know how to direct power in buildings, how to um, when do we need to switch off the air conditioning or regulate the temperature based on how users are using these spaces, when we need to switch off the lights, maybe if there are no users in this part of the building, in this room, in this conference room at the moment. So focusing on the user rather than on just the structure can help a lot, can, you know do a lot in terms of energy savings, performance improvement of buildings, and so many other things that have to do with facility management.
Okay, yeah, of course, I completely agree with you on that because a lot of times when we're talking about saving costs in our buildings or making buildings efficient, we're always looking at talking about sustainability or how these buildings can reduce the amount of energy they consume. But in the real sense of it, it's human beings that actually account for most of those energy consumption. So if those buildings are actually tailored
Yes.
towards the end users, then you naturally will reduce the amount of energy that these buildings actually consume. So I agree with you on that, definitely. So the next question I have is PropTech, obviously is data centric, like you've mentioned earlier. So do you think that the major players in the build sector should embrace PropTech, or do you think the specialty of data analysts and experts like is something that has to do with data analysts and IT experts and not for the professionals in the build sector?
So for us to see improvement, for us to see advancement, there needs to be collaboration. You can't neglect that fact. And that's one of the things we are doing here in Nigerian PropTech Association, PropTech Nigeria. We're trying to build collaboration between real estate professionals, real estate organizations, the biggest realtors, and prop tech startups, new prop tech innovations in the country, so that they can be able to harness that data to be able to build their solutions. It's not just the job of data analysts to gather data and use data for prop tech. So everybody in the real estate space needs to actually be data driven for us to see that growth. Everybody needs to be data driven. We need to, because the data analysts cannot gather that data in isolation. They have to gather data from actual building occupants, which are being from actual facilities which are being managed by facility manage facility managers or realtors or property managers. So we need to be able to collaborate with all these building professionals to be able to harness this data. So everybody has to start using tools that would be able to gather data and not just keep records on pen and paper, or not just do their business in a manual way. We can't keep doing business in construction and in facility management in manual ways. We have to be more digital. We have to be more collaborative so that we can actually harness these very important data that we would need to build these PropTech solutions. So it's a combination, it's a collaboration thing. It's not just data analysts or innovators on one side and then the building professionals or facility managers on the other side.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's quite so. Which also buttresses what we mentioned earlier that it needs to start as early as possible during the building life cycle of a typical asset. So this actually now leads me to the next question.
Yes.
Build prop tech solutions today. A lot of times you see that they are often, I would say, they are often retrofit in the sense that they mostly come in during the operational phases of built assets, or a lot of solutions
Yes.
you see today, they usually come in maybe for marketing existing properties or for managing properties. So they usually come in after the building have been designed and delivered. So how early do you think these solutions will come in? Of course, we already talked that it should come in as early as possible. Perhaps ways that you also think that we can make them come in as early as possible over the building delivery life cycle.
Yeah. So you should definitely come in very early. That is very important. It is important for us to think about technology, to think about prop tech as we are designing buildings, as we are renovating buildings, rather than when the user calls for it. It shouldn't be something that comes when the users call for it. We should have these smart home devices, these sensors, in our electrical systems, in our plumbing systems. We should have all these things already installed because it would save cost that way. Because in construction, anything that what causes delays the most are usually variations, changing what you want to do. Things you didn't plan from the beginning is what causes delays and adds so much to the cost of buildings. So if these things are planned from the beginning, it's the best. Then also we need to get the other stakeholders. We need to get the government. We need to get people in charge of urban planning to take cognizance of prop tech and what prop tech can do, to take cognizance of technology in the planning phase. In other countries, they are thinking of energy efficiency. They're thinking of walkways that generate electricity and all these kind of advanced technologies and connected buildings. And we need to think of that. We need to sensitize people more. We need to do more in terms of sensitization of the general public about property technology. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, obviously we need to everybody in the build sector needs to be a part of it and needs to start as early as possible. So yeah, so it's been on some great conversation, but before, of course, it's important to also mention some of the popular prop tech solutions we have, especially in Africa. So what are the popular prop tech solutions we have today in Africa?
In Africa, there are a couple of solutions. I think the leading countries in terms of prop tech are Nigeria is definitely one of the first. We have South Africa, we have Egypt, we have Kenya too. These are countries where there's a lot of innovation going on in the property space. In South Africa, there's Flow, which is a major startup that helps renters and landlords, that helps in that helps to bridge the gap, the communication gap between landlords and renters. In Nigeria, we have Split, we have Gate Pass, we have Quaba, we have My Invest. I can keep mentioning. There are so many prop tech startups in Nigeria. We are close to 60 at the moment.
Wow.
About 60 prop tech startups in Nigeria already. And let me give a I think I can talk a little bit about what these companies do.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so it Split, for instance, helps in flexible rent. So in Nigeria we are used to paying rent upfront, but Split allows renters to pay their rent monthly. And then they also help landlords and property owners in collecting that rent and managing the tenancy process and the agreements process. Then GatePass is a startup in charge of community management, neighborhood management for a lot of neighborhoods in Lagos. They help property managers and occupants of neighborhoods to interact together discuss payment, discuss issues. They also help. They are also very important with access control. When I know we would all have had issues with, you want to visit someone in an estate and you have to call the person for the gateman to let you in. They create passes, so that process is
Oh, okay.
smooth. We have My Invest that allows you to invest fractionally in real estate. There are other startups that do this. There's CoFundy, there's Corium. There are other startups. There are so many other startups in the fractional investing space. And we're also looking at things, technologies that we can bring in to help people own property and get value for property when property appreciates, without having to go through the stress of purchasing, or without having to go through the regular stress of getting a lawyer, or getting an agent to find a property to buy. Right from your device, you should be able to own equity in a property, so you can earn value from real estate appreciation in Nigeria, which is really really appreciating very well at the moment. A lot of locations are really good hotspots for real estate investing right now in Nigeria. So there are startups like that help you invest small amounts in real estate. There's Quaba that helps renters pay their rent on time. They do rent financing. This is a startup that was also born from the issue of landlords needing to collect rent upfront, a year or 2 years rent upfront. So Quaba helps you pay your rent, and then you can pay back to them monthly as you earn your salary. Eden Life is also a prop tech startup that helps with services, home services, making you comfortable in your home, helps with cleaning, provides all the service, mostly all the services you need in your home, cleaning, repairs, food, all of that. So there are so many prop tech innovations that we're even yet to see in Nigeria and Africa, that we would see more of as time goes by. Definitely.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot for that exhaustive insights into some existing solutions. So obviously, it's been a great conversation. You started by defining what exactly PropTech is all about, and then you also talked about how PropTech can help to reduce the operational expenditure on our facilities, and also how PropTech can help to enhance user experience within our facilities. And then you also emphasize that all the stakeholders in the industry need to be a part of the whole PropTech movement, and technology as a whole. And of course, it needs to start as early as possible. So before we go into, I can see some few comments here. And also, if you have any comment at this point, just drop it in the comment section, and I will try to attend to them. But before we go to the comment section, I'd just like to ask some of these random questions. So I have two random questions as usual. So the first one I have here is, what's your favorite pastime when you're not an architect, a prop tech enthusiast, product manager, or whatever? What's your favorite pastime?
Uh, yes, I'm always on the internet, so I like to just um, learn more, take courses, watch videos, and then you know, hang out with friends, do things, do fun things when I'm not busy. Yes.
Okay, that's the whole lot of pastime. This is not just one. Okay, well that's fine. The second one I have is, what's your favorite hack or tool? What's your favorite tool as a professional? Not necessarily in the build sector, just your favorite tool that enhances your work as a professional.
I think so. Right now, I think form tools have been very useful for me recently. As a building professional and as an architect, I'm used to using all the design tools, but form tools has also been very useful because in this critical stage of prop tech in Nigeria, there needs to be a lot of research done, a lot of data gathering done. So I think online form tools have been very, very effective with doing that for me recently.
Okay, you mean the likes of Google Form, Typeform,
Yes, the likes of
Microsoft.
Google Form,
Uh,
Typeforms, Jot Form, the
okay,
likes
okay.
of those form tools. Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I'm sure that some of them can give you a whole lot of insights on, the people that fill the form as well. Okay, so it's been a great conversation. I will just attend to some of the comments I can see here. Perhaps some of them are comments. So if you also have any question around all the things we've discussed so far, you can also drop them and we'll try to address them. So the first one I have here is
Okay.
from Christopher. So he said that when we talk about data, what kind of data are we talking about? How are these data generated? Are they transferred from design to operation for end users' benefits? A lot of the designers, engineers, contractors, and real estate developers still work with data that is not transferable downstream to end user. So, how do you think that can be mitigated? It's quite a long question, but I don't know if you understand the question. So, basically, it's talking about what kind of data are we generating, and can this data be transferred from the contractors for facility managers in the facility managers during the operational phase of built assets?
Yes. So when we talk about data, we are basically talking about anything that can be quantifiable in the construction and in the building. Don't let me say construction, in the building. Anything that you can get data on that might any parameter that might affect something else, the rate at which water is being consumed based on the number of people in a building, that's data. The rate at which electricity is being consumed in different seasons, that's data. All of this data, and the second part of the question is, which is this data transferable downstream? Yes, the data about how a building performs would influence a designer in designing future buildings. The data about um, people interact or interact with buildings, data about how the kind of spaces people visit, for instance, in a mixed-use building, would influence how the engineer designs loading conditions for the structural design. So all of this data is interconnected in the building ecosystem. Within the ecosystem of the building professionals, can definitely be transferable and should be transferable. We can't be having um, people having monopolies over data. We need systems that interconnected, that share data together to make the entire system better, to make it better to design buildings, better to manage buildings.
Okay. Yeah, I
I've
actually
been
agree
able to
with you on
answer
that
the
one.
question. Yes.
Yeah, obviously, I also shipping my own. I think I will just attend to the last aspect of the question and say, how do you think this can be mitigated? So, in my own opinion, I also think that when we design buildings, the traditional way we design buildings and deliver buildings, um, currently we tend to work in silos or work differently. You have the consultants working, and then the contractors take up and start from there. But ideally, if you are working in an integrated project delivery, you're supposed to work from a common data environment whereby all the communication, all the data goes into a central platform. So if you have a central platform that starts as early as possible, as far as the planning to the conceptual design, detailed design, construction stages of a built asset, and all those communication and information is going into a platform, it will be easier for the built industry to actually harness that data, that connected data coming from all the stakeholders. It will be easier to make use of that data downstream than when you have all the stakeholders working in their own different silos or in their own different worlds. So I also think in terms of mitigating, which is the last aspect of the question, I believe that if we begin to make use of common data environments more on projects and everybody is working more collaboratively, of course, like you mentioned, that will also help to make this data or the information much more usable downstream, and of course enhance projects down the line. For future projects, you can learn from from these existing projects and then improve on future projects, which I believe is one of the common things you find in IT sectors and other sister industries. Yeah.
Yes, you're
So the
very
next one here is
correct.
also, yeah. So the next one is also from Christopher. He say, what's your thoughts on the use of BIM and digital design and technology for building design, operation and life cycle management? So he's trying to ask about the role of BIM in all this.
Yes, very very important, very very important. BIM, like you mentioned, the way you answered the question, the previous question, Onyema, you touched a lot on BIM, having integrated designs and things like that. In terms of design, we're doing. I wouldn't say we're doing 100%. We're doing well, a lot more better than in terms of operation and life cycle of the building. But in terms of the design phase, we're doing good. But then in the operation and life cycle of a building, we find out that there's hardly any integrated system involved. There's no BIM. They don't even refer to sometimes they don't even refer to the designs or as build drawings or anything about how the building was purpose built. So we need to bring in BIM in facility management, in the life cycle management of a building. And the only way we can do this is making it creating tools that make it easier to access that information, creating apps, creating solutions that make it easier to access BIM information and to input data that would be uploaded to the integrated system for a building. So those solutions need to be built and provided for, and that would definitely go a long way in reducing costs and make and increasing energy efficiency in buildings.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think today there are also some already existing solutions that are already tailored towards that direction. As a company, as a website I know, or a company rather called UBeam. So I think there's quite a number of them that they try to make use of existing BIM models and all that to enhance facility management when it gets to the operational phase of built assets. So I believe that, of course, in the coming years, these are things that still the industry is still maturing in that regard. I believe that in the coming years, we'll begin to see more solutions. But of course, the bottom line is being able to extract that data and now create better solutions that can enhance user experience and the whole PropTech ideology when it comes to the operational phase of built assets. Okay, so I also have another question here from Anthony Shimoba. He said, do you even feel that other professionals are aware of the values that a good data management system can offer to them? So I guess these professionals, perhaps he's talking about other consultants, maybe let's say a structural engineer or maybe a contractor even or subcontractor. So he's asking if you think that these professionals are aware of the values that a good data management system can offer to them.
I think a lot of professionals are aware, but they are not ready to make that change. They are aware, a lot of professionals, because these are professionals that have seen in some way how things are being done in other fields and how things are being done even in real estate in other countries. But to make that change is change is one of the toughest things to do, because you're so used to your old processes, you're so used to these same methods of doing things. So I think the more we see how easy it is to change, the more these professionals would be much more willing to implement to adopt good data management systems that will be beneficial for the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that as well. And of course, some of them might not even be aware because some of them, especially the ones, let me say consultants, for example, a lot of times see that when people design buildings, they just see their roles limited to just design. They feel like they have been contracted on this project to design the facility, and once they are done with their design, their input is over. So they don't really see the impact of what they are doing downstream. So a lot of times, some of these professionals, which I also believe this is also where awareness or sensation can also come in. So if all these professionals actually begin to realize that everybody is playing a role to deliver a facility that will eventually impact the users and the environment. Then they can now begin to also appreciate the importance of having a good data management system and how they can actually create an intelligent information that will feed into their system. Like Christopher was asking about the role of BIM in all of this. So if people don't see their role as they are creating data that will eventually be used during the facility management of built assets, they will not care about the quality of that data. So someone can as well just create a building using 2D CAD drawings that are not even intelligent or anything at all, just to get it past the design stage of that facility. But if these people begin to see their role in the whole process of delivering buildings, then I believe that can also enhance the entire data management system downstream. Okay, so I
True,
think that,
true. I like that point.
yeah, so that's basically all the comments I can see here. I can't see any other comments. So if any other person still have any comments, you can still drop it into the comment section. Otherwise, we'll be rounding up in a bit. So obviously, this is something that we do every 2 weeks, and these are also recorded and processed and put up on our blog. So, which I'll just share the link on the screen. So, if you access this link here, which I think I will drop on the comment section on LinkedIn, if you access this link, you can access all the sessions that we normally organize, which is every 2 weeks. So you can always go there to rewatch any of the previous episodes that you've missed in the past. So thank you very much for sharing your experience and your insights as regards PropTech and the build sector. And it's been nice having you in this conversation today.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you too for having me.
Yeah, so obviously we still look forward to having you in subsequent episodes.
Definitely, definitely, I would definitely be willing to talk more about other areas of prop tech in the future.
All right, so thank you once again for making our time. I'll see you in the next 2 weeks. Of course, before time, we always broadcast and announce the topic and the guest for our house. So in the coming 2 weeks, before 2 weeks time, we always announce that. So you can always check out the link I shared on the screen, and you can always rewatch all these episodes. So thank you all once again.
All right. Bye.